Hello everyone, once again this is Michael the Comic Nerd, and Mike's Indie Corner is back, and to start off we're taking a look at a very unique game that came out last month called Undertale. Okay, so this is one of those games that has very quickly since its release last month has developed a huge cult following. It just soared in popularity. It's one of the top sellers on Steam, and many people are already calling it the most, like, one of the best games of all time. I mean, there's a whole game backs kerfuffle about it. Yes, I said kerfuffle. And so I was kind of like, what is this game all about? Because I looked at the trailer, I was curious. I looked it up, I was like, really? This game? Because it looks like a kind of a cartoony RPG kind of style. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Let's see what it is. And you know what? After playing through it, I can definitely see why it has the cult following that it has. It's an excellent game. It's a fantastic game. It's also a very difficult game to describe. There just isn't another game I know like this. Its influences are obvious. It's obviously got heavy influence on, like, the RPG genre, and it's got heavily influences on, like, an anime and stuff like that. But at the same time, the way it goes about it is so unique, and it's so innovative, and it's so making its own identity that it is an insanely intoxicating experience. From beginning to end, it continuously toys with your expectations. It continuously toys with your own emotions. It knows how to do wit, it knows how to do humor, it knows how to have a good heart, it knows how to have a good story with good characters. I mean, there's very little I have issues with this game. So the story of the game starts out very simple. You play this small child who falls into a pit of a realm ruled by monsters. Now, back in the days, it explains in the prologue, humans and monsters used to live together until some kind of war broke out, and monsters got banished to this underground ruin. And that's where you fall yourself into. Now, any human that falls in this place is usually killed at some point, and that's obviously the fear going into this. Now, from here, this is where the game immediately toys with you in its very concept, in that you can do the traditional fighting the monsters and killing the monsters and all that stuff and getting XP and leveling up and getting more health, stuff like that, or you can talk your way out of pretty much every fighting encounter you run into. This is honestly a much more interesting, much more rewarding experience than actually just straight up fighting the monsters, because every monster, and this is the brilliance of this game, every monster, every creature, every NPC you run into, whether he plays a big part or a small part or just like a character you meet for like a second, each one of these characters has a unique identity. It has a unique voice. Each one stands on their own as a character with a very defined personality. I mean, I was reading an article a while back about, like, writing comic books, and how somebody said that the best way to write characters is give each one a distinct voice. So even if you can't see who's talking, you always know who's talking. And I feel like this game is an excellent example of how to do that right. I mean, there are so many just wonderfully creative, bizarre ideas here. So much so that if it wasn't so clearly, intentionally, and cleverly written, I would say that a lot of drugs were used to influence this game, and, you know, a lot probably still are, but at the same time, it's so carefully written, it's so carefully constructed, it's so carefully building this world and these characters and this just very unique identity, and that unique identity carries over into the gameplay. Because every encounter you have, it's not traditional, like, attack, like most RPGs go. This is still a turn-based RPG, but your turn can either make a straightforward attack, or you can try to appeal to the monster you're fighting in one of many unique ways. Each one is unique to the monster you're fighting. But when they attack, you get into this weird kind of dodgy mini-game where you play like your little heart, which is supposed to be your soul, in this little box, and you have to, like, dodge certain attacks they throw at you. But even this, they constantly make mix up, and they constantly try new things with it, so you never know what to expect. This is by far the most unpredictable game I have played in a very long time. Like I said, I cannot think of another game like this. This is such a unique experience. And it's also a game where it feels like what you do matters. Any enemy you kill has an impact towards the end. And this is the only game in recent memory I can remember where as soon as I beat it, I immediately started a new game, and I immediately, just because I want to see what different choices I can make and what different outcomes you can get from that. And this is a game you absolutely need to play twice, or maybe even 3 times, depending on your choices, because the endings you get based on the decisions you make are so fundamentally different that it's worth exploring more than once. Like, I made a choice in my first playthrough that was haunted me through the entire rest of that playthrough, and also kind of well into the second playthrough, because even when you start over again, the game still reminds you very cleverly of the decisions you made in your first playthrough. I mean, this is one of those games where, like, the less I say about how it constantly subverts your expectations, how clever it is, what it accomplishes, is really, A, not going to do it justice, and B, really something you need to discover on your own, because it's just one of those things. It's such a unique experience, and it needs to be experienced by you, and it's one of those things I should really just shut up. But I will add a few more things that make why this game works so well, is the fact that, while it does have this humor, it does have the well-defined characters, but it also has a really good heart. And that especially carries through on the ending, depending on what ending you get. Like, the first ending I got was an insane, batshit crazy, just balls to the walls insanity ending with the final boss fight that was just absolutely just bizarre as fuck, but it was also massively entertaining. The second ending I got, which was much more of the traditional, which was much more of a happy ending, was also insane in its own way, not nearly as much, but it was also much more somber and much more optimistic, and there was much more of a feel-good vibe from it. Totally different endings. Totally different final boss fight, totally different everything, and it's very impressive they managed to accomplish this. I mean, like I said, I think there's like 3 different routes you can go to. You can go like the murder everything route, you can go through the neutral route where you kill like a couple enemies, but not all of them, or you can go like the true pacifist route where you don't kill anybody. It's kind of worth doing the neutral route first and then going the true pacifist route, because then you can see the very huge story elements that you can only get by getting the true pacifist ending. But at the same time, going through the neutral ending is so bizarre that you just have to experience it. So there's and it also affects how characters talk to you. It affects how they interact with you. It affects I haven't done the murder everything. I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to give anything away. I do have a very couple minor nitpicks. I mean, these are all complete nitpicks. The first nitpick is, I feel like the game is almost too clever for its own good sometimes, because there are times when, you run into characters and there's no clear way to, talk your way out of it. So you I feel like some solutions, like these, especially the boss fights, are things you can only really discover if you look it up online, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's still really clever, but I feel like it's almost too clever. I don't know how many people would realistically get these on their own. Some bosses you can only beat peacefully if you kind of just wait them out, and eventually it just kind of ends on its own. But you don't really know when that's going to happen. You don't really know how there's no easy way to figure that out. So, I don't know, that's just a very minor nitpick. And the second minor nitpick I have is that the true pacifist ending, I feel like, is a little overindulgent in its cheesiness. This feels almost a little too happy-go-lucky, a little too tongue-in-cheek, a little too cheesy. But at the same time, it also felt kind of earned, especially after going through the balls to the walls, batshit crazy first ending. So I was like, okay, I can deal with a little sap, that's fine. The only other minor nitpick I could think of is that one of the characters in particular does kind of play up to the nerdy stereotype a little more than I would have liked, but at the same time, still a likable character, so I didn't have that much of a problem with it. But either way, these are very well-balanced characters. It's a very entertaining story, and apparently it gets really personal for a lot of people. I didn't really necessarily do that for me, but I can definitely see how that would come up for a lot of people. But this is absolutely a game you need to check out. I would say this is probably one of the best games I've played all year. Certainly one of the best indie games I've played all year. So if I had to give this a score, I would easily give this 9.5. excellent game, a must play. I highly recommend it. Go check it out. Yeah. And I think that's all I got without giving away spoilers. So, yeah, check out Undertale. Meanwhile, I got a couple of other games in the queue that I'm going to save up for and buy and all that stuff. But if you want to make your own request for a game to appear on the show, make sure to go to our Patreon, patreon.com/MichaelTheComicNerd, and give $5 a month, in which case you can ask me to review any game you want. Now that I'm back, I'll be focusing more on the Patreon stuff again, so look for that update on the Patreon as well. And, yeah, that's all I got. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode of whatever I make it next. Bye-bye.